The scene opens in a fancy restaurant, where guests are savoring their meals and celebrating their special moments. Suddenly, the protagonist, Bae Man, falls from the rooftop, hanging upside down by a single rope. On the rooftop above, a shadowy figure appears who pulls out a knife and cuts through the rope, sending Bae Man falling towards the ground. Just as he begins to fall, the scene shifts back to his school days. In the flashback, Bae Man is shown as a rebellious troublemaker, who gets expelled from 3 schools for breaking the rules. Outside the school, his aunt, Do Soo-kyung, who is a detective and his sole guardian, reprimands him for wanting to drop out of high school merely to avoid military service. Despite dropping out, he dedicates himself to studying tirelessly, understanding that passing the bar exam is his only chance to turn his life around. He successfully passes the bar exam, but when he starts applying to different law firms, he faces judgment from both interviewers and other candidates for not having a high school diploma. Frustrated, he ends up showing his aggressive side toward them. After failing his interview at the 10th law firm, Bae Man sits down to a dismal dinner of instant noodles while watching the news about a lawyer arrested for unethical practices. Just then, a man approaches him, and Bae Man quickly recognizes him as Young Moon-gu, the managing partner at Law & One, the same person associated with the arrest he saw in the news earlier. Moon-gu reveals that he has done a background check on Bae Man and casually mentions that he has passed the interview for Moon-gu. He then leads Bae Man to his luxurious office and pours him a glass of fine whiskey. Without hesitation, he suggests that Bae Man consider a position as a military prosecutor. Bae Man immediately declines, stating he is exempt because he did not finish high school. As he walks to the door, Moon-gu explains that this role could earn him 5 times more than the lawyer job he is looking for, plus he would receive a 10% commission from Moon-gu, which could help him pay off his debt. Despite this, Bae Man still refuses, saying Moon-gu has not done his homework. If he had, he would know why Bae Man wants to avoid the military. Bae Man reveals that both of his parents were in the military and died in a car accident while distracted by a call from a superior. He watched helplessly as they lost their lives in their uniforms. Moon-gu continues, explaining that the military is a gold mine, but for the wealthy, it is like a ticking time bomb. He insists that his job is to defuse that bomb before it goes off. He then offers Bae Man wealth and connections, promising him a position at Law & One if he agrees to serve as a military prosecutor for 5 years and meet his expectations along the way. The scene fast forwards 5 years later to when a new recruit, Cha Woo-in, takes her oath. Meanwhile, Bae Man has settled into his position. He visits a barrack where Sergeant An Soo-ho, son of the president of Gusan Bank, is stationed. At first, he acts friendly, pretending to care about Soo-ho's minor allergies and mosquito bites. He gives him a spacious room to himself and provides equipment and special treatment. Before long, Bae Man begins investigating Soo-ho, who is suspected of using his father's wealth for preferential treatment. Soon, Woo-in arrives at her assigned base, where Section Chief Yu-ra gives her a tour. During the tour, she crosses paths with Bae Man, who does not greet her and hurries off to the interrogation room. Woo-in notices this and seems unsettled. So Yu-ra explains that Bae Man's investigation is receiving a lot of media attention, which is likely causing his irritation. She then gives Woo-in a tour of the base. In the interrogation room, Bae Man dismisses Soo-ho's explanations. Despite Soo-ho's attempts, Bae Man remains resolute in holding the sergeant accountable. Meanwhile, Woo-in asks Yu-ra to take her to the investigation room where Bae Man is working, where she listens in on the interrogation he is conducting. Later, Bae Man addresses the media, announcing that Soo-ho has been found guilty and will face punishment for using his father's wealth for personal gain. He emphasizes that all soldiers will receive equal treatment and that this case will be a cornerstone for eliminating special privileges. After the briefing, Bae Man confronts Woo-in about spying on him during the interrogation. In their conversation, he mentions his intention to get discharged soon. They then approach their superior to report, who commends Bae Man for his briefing. However, when he questions Woo-in, her responses fail to satisfy him, leading him to ask her to leave the room. Observing her reaction, Bae Man quickly decides to assign her a task, putting her in charge of the next interrogation before he walks out. Bae Man is on his way to meet Moon-gu, who offers him some cash for doing his job well. As they discuss the plan they made 5 years ago, they are interrupted by a call on Moon-gu's phone from someone named No Tae-nam. After the call ends, Bae Man insists on meeting the caller, but Moon-gu refuses to do that right now. Fortunately, Bae Man takes note of the name and later looks it up after leaving Moon-gu's place. He discovers that the caller is the chairman of IM Defense, who has a fondness for his pet and holds significant influence over Moon-gu. After that, Bae Man visits Soo-ho in jail, where he reveals that he once beat a man to death, changed his name, and pretended to be a model soldier to escape his dark past. Later, Moon-gu visits Tae-nam at his bar, Cartel, where he usually lets his dog, Bolt, roam free. While they have a brief conversation, they are interrupted by Tae-nam's friend Alan, who arrives with a girl. Upon their entrance, Alan asks Moon-gu to leave. The girl, Han Sena, is a fan of Alan's, and she later gets drugged and assaulted by the two men. After the incident, she goes to a police station where Soo-kyung works, showing signs of bruises on her face. From there, she calls her friend Woo-in for help. When Woo-in arrives, Soo-kyung updates her on Sena's condition. Afterward, Woo-in interrogates a military suspect but remains calm when he suddenly attacks her, earning praise from Bae Man for her composure. Later, she transforms her appearance with red lipstick and a wig, sneaking into the apartment where Alan and his friends are partying. She confronts them about the Sena, and when Alan threatens her with a golf club, she swiftly takes him and his friends down with her stilettos and fists. Woo-in takes the phone he used to record the assault and calls someone to have the group captured. At the same time, Bae Man reviews Woo-in's files and discovers that she is a Stanford law dropout who disappeared for 3 years, only to pass the Korean bar exam as soon as she returned. He is intrigued, especially since she never flinched, even when an aggressive soldier held a sharp glass shard right in her face. Later, as Woo-in picks up her locket with her initials, a brief flashback shows that her father, Cha Ho-chul, the chairman of the IM defense industry, named the company after her, with her initials turned upside down. She reflects on the moments she shared with her father as she gazes at her locket. At the base, a colleague tells Bae Man about IM's history as a small defense company that has ties to the military through Tae-nam, whose mother is General No Hwa-young, the first Korean woman to earn 2 stars. Bae Man learns that after military secrets were leaked, the previous chairman, Ho-chul, was arrested and IM fell into legal management. Tae-nam took advantage of this crisis to buy the company at a bargain price. The colleague mentions Ho-chul's suspicious car crash and Moon-gu's role as the prosecutor at the time. Watching video clips, Bae Man suspects a connection between Moon-gu and Tae-nam in seizing control of IM and recalls that Moon-gu founded Law & One, backed by Tae-nam, after leaving the prosecutor's office. The next day, Woo-in visits Sena in the hospital, where Sena expresses her concern about the group having a video of the incident. Woo-in reassures her that she has the video and that it is Sena's choice whether to use it to punish the group or to destroy it. Sena decides to have the video destroyed forever. Woo-in promises that, no matter what happens, she will always protect her. News of Alan's disappearance spreads fast, leading to cancelled concerts and mounting tension for Tae-nam and his team. Moon-gu, Tae-nam's legal advisor, who usually covers up his crimes before they reach the courtroom, visits to address the situation. During their conversation, Tae-nam admits they assaulted Sena, revealing the incident was recorded on Alan's phone. Worried, Moon-gu rushes off to find Alan to protect Tae-nam, but before leaving, Tae-nam insists he should involve Bae Man to help manage the fallout. Following Tae-nam's instructions, Moon-gu brings in Bae Man to find Alan. Without asking any questions, Bae Man accepts the task and begins working on it as soon as he leaves the office. He reviews the camera footage from outside Alan's apartment and spots Woo-in, disguised in a red wig and large sunglasses. However, he fails to recognize her. After taking a quick look around the apartment, he concludes that the suspect is a girl with red hair. The next morning, Woo-in gives Bae Man a luxurious watch, leading his colleagues to believe that they are in a romantic relationship. When asked about it, she clarifies that it is just a gift to thank him for protecting her during the recent interrogation incident. She wants him to wear it even after he is discharged, reminding him to cherish every moment. Later, as they head to shooting training, Woo-in struggles to aim properly. Bae Man steps in to help her get the shot right. Just as he is training her, he receives a call and steps outside. To his surprise, he looks back and sees Woo-in hitting her target perfectly after just one lesson. At the same time, Soo-ho meets with Seo-rak, who harbors a deep resentment toward Bae Man for having sent his father to prison. Soo-ho gives him the order to kill Bae Man. Driven by his own resentments, he decides to accept the challenge. Meanwhile, Bae Man reports the evidence he found at the apartment, including a picture of Woo-in disguised as a woman with red hair. He confirms that the blood he discovered matches Alan's DNA and assures that he will locate Alan once he pieces together the full story of the incident. He is then informed by a colleague that Alan was at the cartel 2 days ago. Determined to investigate further, he heads to the bar and concludes that Tae-nam is also involved in the situation. In the next scene, Woo-in visits Alan and his group at the army camp where they are being held captive. She tortures and drugs them, and during an altercation, Alan accidentally hits her with his shoulder, leaving a small wound above her eye. The following day at the office, high-ranking officials notice her injuries and try to discipline her about the rules. However, Woo-in counters their points, leaving the officials in disbelief. In the office, the officer complains to Bae Man about women's behavior, saying they are too righteous and difficult to manage. During the conversation, he mentions that a new division commander has transferred in, and when he reveals her name as General No Hwa Young, Bae Man becomes lost in thought. At home, while Woo-in trains herself, Bae Man reflects on the watch she gifted him and thinks about her words and actions. His memories are interrupted by a call from Moon-gu. When they meet, Bae Man shares his suspicions about two women, the one with red hair and Sena, who reported her assault to the police. He also reveals that he suspects Taenam's involvement in the incident. Moon-gu insists on finding Alan, and Bae Man requests a meeting with Taenam to do so. Moon-gu agrees and arranges a meeting between the two. As the two meet, Bae Man begins to share stories from his rebellious school days. He then talks about his current job when Taenam expresses his desire to evade conscription and tests Bae Man's ability to secure a long-term position to work for him. Without hesitation, Bae Man accepts the challenge. Moon-gu tries to caution him against this decision, but both Bae Man and Taenam dismiss his concerns, focusing instead on their own plans. Moon-gu tries to warn both of them separately about the impending danger, but Bae Man shows no hesitation in accepting Taenam's offer. He also cautions Taenam that his mother will not let things go easily for him after knowing the truth. This prompts Taenam to visit Sena in the hospital. However, when he arrives, he does not find her in her hospital bed and looks around for her. He quickly spots her sitting on a bench outside in the park and approaches her. There, he attempts to intimidate her into telling him where the video is, but she does not reveal anything. Just as he raises his hand to strike her, a military officer enters the scene, informing her that her mother has arrived and is waiting to meet him. The military officer then leads Taenam to a car where his mother is waiting. She confronts him, stating that Moon-gu has informed her of everything, and insists that they need to talk in the car. She urges him to get inside. While driving to the inauguration program of a new division commander, Bae Man and Woo-in suddenly find their way blocked by Seo-rak, whom Bae Man immediately recognizes as the son of a man involved in military supply theft. When Bae Man steps out of the car to confront Seo-rak, he is quickly surrounded by Seo-rak's men, who are ordered to attack him. As the fight escalates, Woo-in turns up the music in the car and watches the chaos unfold outside. As the fight intensifies, Bae Man starts to get overwhelmed by the group. Seeing this, Woo-in exits the car and joins the confrontation, raising Bae Man's suspicions about her. After she helps him eliminate all the attackers, Bae Man tells her to drive to the inauguration. He settles into the back seat of the car and discovers a red wig. Looking at Woo-in, he notices she is wearing the same glasses as the woman with the red wig he suspects in the case of the missing Alan, leaving him to wonder about her true identity.